Okay, guys, let's talk about Annie. Is she gonna stay in that damn crystal forever, or are we gonna do something with this lost plot thread?
Hey guys, and welcome back to DarkLogic Studios' Attack on Titan theories and discussions. Before we go any further, I want to give you fair warning that these videos are going to contain lots and lots of spoilers. So if you're not caught up with the manga, then what are you doing with your life? Seriously though, if you don't want spoilers, you should probably click on something else. If you're all caught up though, then let's get to it.
So I haven't actually spent a lot of time thinking about Annie, at least not for a while. I think mainly just because she hasn't really been in the story for a long time, except for that flashback with Marco. That's not to say I don't think Annie's an interesting character. I think she is an interesting character, and a big part of the reason is because of this inner conflict. I went back to watch the first season of the anime, and I rewatched some of the scenes with her, and she doesn't have a lot of dialogue. There's only a few scenes, but what I realized after watching these scenes is I can see what other people have been telling me. Like, this is the first time in a while that I've actually gone back and watched these scenes, and obviously people have been wondering for a while if she's ever gonna come out of that crystal and how the Survey Corps might be able to get her out of there. A lot of people have been wondering if she might switch sides. And now, after watching these scenes in the anime and looking back at her dialogue, it's really interesting. It definitely kind of points in that direction. And I was kind of under the impression that Annie just wasn't going to come back, that she was just going to be a casualty of all this. The stuff with her dad was just to add to her tragedy, but the more I think about it and the more I watch these scenes, there's definitely an air of mystery to it that goes beyond just trying to be tragic. She, when we see these flashbacks with her dad, his face is in shadow. We don't even know what he looks like. Why would his face be in shadow if he wasn't going to be revealed later? I mean, if there wasn't some reason for it. All we know is that he's got slick back blondish hair. And when we look at that little bit of dialogue he has, what he says that I was wrong. It's too late to ask for your forgiveness. And which implies that he made a choice involving Annie that he regrets, and reason stands to believe that that choice may have been to volunteer her as a Marleyan warrior. I could have sworn the first time I watched this, he was saying, not my daughter, but I must be mixed up because that is a completely opposite context. That would imply that he didn't make the choice, but whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna go with what I saw today. So yeah, and he says, just promise me one thing, that you'll come home. So really her only goal is to accomplish her mission and get home to her father. That's all she cares about. That's all she can really afford to care about. But, on the other hand, she also can't help but care about these other people who are supposed to be her enemy. That's why she can't bring herself to kill Armin. And, that's why she ultimately failed her mission, because she cared too much. She's kind of like Ymir in a way, except while Ymir puts up a wall by being a douchebag, Annie puts up a wall by cutting people off, by just not engaging with people. There's obviously a reason for it. She doesn't want to connect with people because she doesn't want to get attached to these people. She doesn't want to make friends because she knows they're her enemy, and she knows that she's self-aware enough to know that she's vulnerable to that, but at the same time she can't help it. She did kind of develop these connections with these other characters. She'd have these moments where she was helping someone else, not really for her own benefit, just because deep down she's a good person. She saves Connie's life. She keeps Marlowe from going to jail and losing all his teeth. And she expresses that she has respect for Eren, and obviously she develops a connection with Armin. So there's a moment when they're getting their 3D maneuver gear checked, and they're talking about what faction they're gonna join. And Armin looks at Annie and he's like, you're actually a nice person, aren't you? He's like, you don't really want us to join the Survey Corps. You know, he calls her a nice person or a good person. And, you know, she's obviously a pretty stoic character. In that moment, it kind of subtle, but it seemed like that meant a lot to her because she doesn't want to be a bad person because she's not a bad person, but she's kind of being forced to do this. She probably feels really guilty about that, but she's definitely, I think, the most relatable out of the Marleyan warriors. Burdell and Reiner, they definitely care about Eren and the others too, but, you know, they have their mission, and I would say they're more dedicated to their mission than Annie is. And maybe they kind of believe what the Marley have been telling them, because, you know, Reiner was referred to the Eldians as this evil race, which is, you know, he's an Eldian too, so it's kind of interesting. He's kind of differentiated himself from them, even though he technically is one of them. But anyway, back to Annie. To her detriment, she's developed these relationships with these characters, even though she didn't want to, she didn't mean to, but because of that, because of her inability to block out her emotions completely, she failed her mission, and she didn't want to die. And the only thing that she could do, she wasn't willing to die for her mission. She wasn't willing to do that, so she crystallized herself, I guess in hopes that somehow she would be able to survive and go back home, I don't know. So, and if we go back, and I'm gonna quote her a few times to just give the full context of what she's saying. You know, there's a scene with Marlowe when he's kind of like pissed off about their superiors and their corruption, and talking about how he's gonna rise to the top and he's gonna change things, and he's like, if quote unquote good people like you ran the system, I think things would really fall apart. And she says, I think you're a proper person, you say the proper things. I know someone like that, talking about Eren. She continues to say, it takes great courage to go against the tide. I respect that, even if he might just be a fool. And then later on, when Marlowe, he like wants to shoot that officer who beat him up, and Annie's like, weren't you going to punish them in a way that fit their crimes? She says, go ahead, I'll be willing to join you. But of course Marlowe can't do it, and he's like, damn it, and he's like, so you think I'm scum who just go with the tide, right? And she says, I wouldn't know, but isn't that what an ordinary person would do? All I want is for those people who flow with the tide to be thought of as human beings too. And now I think we can totally see what she's talking about, because, I mean, you know, before, we didn't know why she was doing all this. We didn't know what her reasons were. We didn't know if she was in it for her own benefit, if she was a soldier, a pawn. But now we know that she was basically a pawn. She was chosen, or it sounds like volunteered, to inherit one of the Titans and become a Marleyan warrior. And you know, it's clear that she's not really that invested in this. She doesn't want to do these things. She doesn't really give a shit about the Marley and their opinions about the Eldians and whatever. She's just like, she just wants to save herself, as she says. And, you know, when she's talking about people who flow with the tide, she's talking about herself, because she's just flowing with the tide. She's, you know, kind of accepted her fate, and she knows this is what she has to do. Even though she doesn't want to do it, but she can't fight it. She doesn't have the strength or the will to fight it, and that's why she respects Eren, because Eren does have the will to fight it and to go against the tide, which is what she wishes she could do. And too, there was that other moment when Armin came and asked her to help them sneak off at the end of the female Titan arc, and they were trying to get her to go underground and stuff, and she could see right through them. And the way Armin ultimately convinces her to agree to help them, even though she knew that he was bullshitting, was, you know, he said, if you don't help me, you're gonna be a bad person to me. You know, before he had said that he called her a good person, and that meant something to her. She actually took that to heart, because she probably doesn't feel like she is a very good person. And she probably feels pretty fucking shitty about this kind of about the stuff that she's had to do. So when Armin tells her that she's a nice person, that means a lot to her. So when Armin turned around and said, look, I don't believe in good people or bad people, I think it's subjective, that, if you don't help us right now, then to me, you will be a bad person. And that changes her mind, because Armin may be the only person, aside from her dad, who ever said anything that made her feel like she was a good person. So that's why she has this connection with Armin. And I was looking at these scenes, it's like all of her dialogue, if you think about the idea that she might come back and switch sides, it's pretty foreshadowing. And I think that has pretty big implications, we can say, for what is gonna happen with Annie before this manga's over. So is Annie gonna come back? Is she gonna switch sides? Is she gonna join the Survey Corps and fight the Marley? I think yes. I think you guys are right. I think Annie is going to come back. I think she's going to join the Survey Corps. And I think that Armin is going to be the one to bridge that gap, to find that pathway. Literally. We had all this talk about pathways this last chapter. And, when you look at these panels, when you see Armin's face, when Aaron brings up these pathways, he's kind of he's got that look on his face like he just realized something's going on in there. The gears are turning, and, he kind of first his eyes shift towards Aaron, and then he turns his head. So it's like he's thinking about something. He's having an Armin moment. And also, we had that panel in chapter 85 with Armin looking up at Bertolt, having this weird vision of the colossal titan, and maybe that was kind of like part or a sign of these pathways that they're talking about. And if someone's able to see the pathways, maybe even travel through them or communicate through them, then maybe Armin, maybe he might find that he has the ability to communicate with Annie, even though she's stuck in that crystal. If someone can use these pathways, I think it's most likely going to be Armin, because of this pre-established connection we already have with these two characters. Annie and Armin definitely have a little bit of a bond, The fact that Annie didn't just stomp Armin out right from the get-go, I think says a lot. And, she says to Armin, I'm glad I was kind to you, when they call her out, she's like, she doesn't regret being kind to Armin, even though it fucked her mission up. That's a choice that she doesn't have to regret. Maybe she regrets it a little bit. Out of all the people that she's had to kill, all the lives that she's had to take, she chose not to take Armin's life, and doesn't make up for the fact that she's killed all these other people. But to her, again, she doesn't think she's a good person. So when Armin says she's a good person, that means a lot to her. The fact that she spared his life maybe makes her feel a little bit better about herself, because that was one life she didn't have to regret taking. And secondly, Armin, he ate Bertolt. He's got Bertolt's memories now somewhere deep inside of him. And, some people were theorizing that now that Armin might recall some of Bertolt's memories, that maybe he might recall Bertolt's feelings for Annie as well. And so, what would happen if Armin does actually, inherit some of Bertolt's feelings for her? That'd be kind of interesting. Although I can't see Isayama really writing much romance into the story. If they do have some kind of connection, I think it's going to be really subtle. It's going to be kind of ambiguous. I don't know, it'd be kind of adorable, but but I can't really see Isayama. It would feel really out of place if he did overtly make them a couple. So, but like I said, he's probably going to be kind of vague about it if it does happen. And if he does do it like that, I think that'd be fine. I'd be okay with that. I think that would be kind of nice for Armin. And Annie. These two need some love. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Annie. Now that I've gone back and looked at all this, I'm actually really excited to see Annie come back. I really want to see that happen. I'm so glad that you guys requested this topic, because one of the things that's really cool about doing these videos is I have an excuse to dig way deeper into things than I ever should. You know, thanks to you guys talking about it and sharing your theories, I've definitely gained a new appreciation for a lot of the characters in this manga, and now that includes Annie. I hope she comes back. I'm excited to see her come back. I want to see what happens with her. I want to see her redeem herself and be happy. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever gonna be happy in this manga. I want to see Annie and Armin hook up. Let's do it. Let's do it, Isayama. Let's have some kawaii. So hope you guys like this video. Make sure to click that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. And tell me your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Annie's gonna come back? What do you think's gonna happen if she does? Really curious to hear you guys' opinions. Alright, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.